Good morning, everybody. We are back live, kicking it stateside, A2D Radio, Adam Modick, Brian Wheeler. What's going on, my friend? How we doing?
Hey, back on a Saturday, back to normal. So far, so good.
Yeah, it's we got our first snow show of this year so far. I'm looking out in the lovely. I'm back on location in Philly, looking at this gorgeous. It's more of an ice rink on the roads right now in the city. I don't know how it is where you're at, but
yeah, it's pretty icy. It was about 19 degrees this morning. I had to run out to the store. I got little man with me this weekend, so I had to go grab a couple things. And yeah, bro, it's too early for soccer, but you're here. Actually, it's perfect timing for soccer. There's already been a game on. One game's already started and been over, so. It's the perfect time for soccer.
We've already been there, done that. We got we had an early game. We had Liverpool putting a touchdown on Crystal Palace this morning already. So
yeah, if any of y'all would have got up, you would have saw. You want to see a high-scoring soccer game? That was your opportunity.
Where's Wills in this whole thing? He probably been like, "This is the greatest thing ever." 7 goals.
Yeah, you think Klopp's going to complain about 5 subs?
No, I saw Jeff said something, which is very funny, and it's very true that when results don't go his way and Liverpool's way, he complains. But, hey, you just played the midweek, and you tied, West Brom, correct?
Yeah.
And now you get a 7-0 victory, and, all is right with the world. But that's a topic I'm sure we'll discuss with our guest. Hopefully we'll have on our wonderful Lord Walker. I'm sure everybody that follows A2D and watches the show, he comments on a lot of different shows and posts. So we'll have Lord Walker on to discuss a little bit of soccer action here. He's a big Liverpool guy. So
yeah, and sorry, I had to correct you. It was Fulham that they tied. Right. City tied West Brom.
I knew some good team shit the bed again.
Yeah.
Of course, side.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. And we have a game going on right now. Speaking of City, they did get an early goal against Southampton. I believe it's still 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0.
Yeah. Raheem Sterling got the only goal so far this morning. We'll kind of get into that and how, again, we said, City drew West Brom earlier this week. And back to the old thing, why are these bigger clubs struggling this season so far in drawing a team in the bottom half of the table, fighting for relegation? I think West Brom might be in relegation at this point.
They deserve to be in relegation.
That's true.
They got a new skipper coming now, looking for that manager bump.
Yeah, that's another big thing. West Brom had enough of Slaven Bilic. He got canned.
First one out. What?
Recycled manager number 1 this year.
Big Sam.
Big Sam Allardyce is back coaching West Brom. So we'll see if West Brom gets a manager bump this weekend or not.
It's coming.
I'm sure.
Everybody's going to be like, "Oh yeah, West Brom."
After one game, they'll get 3 points.
Yeah.
And then shit the bed the rest of the way.
Who's his debut against? I don't even know. I haven't been paying close enough attention to West Brom's schedule this weekend.
West Brom has Villa tomorrow at home. So it's a winnable game.
That's a winnable game.
Again, Villa is one of those teams you're not really sure which way they're going to be going.
Yeah. You catch them on the right day, you could steal one there.
So. You could. It's a doable game, but we'll get into that as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's the Christmas scheduling. We have a bunch of games. We had a bunch of games this midweek, and we have games, obviously, this weekend. And then we got Boxing Day coming up next weekend.
I'm so excited.
Well, and
we have a Boxing Day show.
Yes, luckily enough for us, Boxing Day falls on a Saturday.
So awesome.
So hopefully, I'd like to get my brother on and probably Zach, hopefully, to talk a little bit with us and try and get a good guest show for Boxing Day, since it's only happens once a year.
That'd be so fantastic. Maybe get a few people popping in. Let's try and work that out.
Almost like a fan show.
Like Fan Friday.
Exactly.
On A2D, which you could be a part of every Friday.
Yeah. If this is your chance to talk about the hapless Eagles or Sixers,
and we've made it pretty, open. We're open to the fans. We had Julio on. You see my man banging a 65-yard field goal the other day?
I did. I was impressed. I was like, wow, okay, man. All right.
Yeah.
I see you.
Sign him. He'll be like your Tony Danza. You guys need him. That's all you need.
The soccer kicking Vegas gambling kicking phenomenon.
Drunk garbage man.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what
anything better than Jake Elliott, I guess, is in my book.
Apparently. So, all right, let's get some real footy talk going.
But yes, again, this past midweek, obviously the big clubs, City and Liverpool tied. Some lower end squads in Fulham and West Brom. Chelsea lost again.
Yeah.
It's looking like the Chelsea of old, giving up late goals. So, and these big signings, which I'm sure Lord Walker will throw out my way. Why is Kai Havertz not doing well? Why is Timo not scoring? Those age-old questions, which I cannot answer to you. I will tell him I do not know.
That seems to be one of the big questions right now. Is where's Timo's goal drought coming in? And this game cracks me up, though, because we'll get into it, obviously. At some point, we're going to talk about the poll questions and things like that, too. But, people are so quick to throw a label like, oh, he's in a goal drought. Like, why? Because he hasn't scored in 3 games. Just because, and maybe he's in a Prem goal drought, but he's scoring in Champions League. But everybody wants to panic so quick. And I don't know. I think sometimes people just, especially nowadays, there's no patience when it comes to sports, whether it's coaching, players. I know these guys are making huge amounts of dollars, but soccer especially, just scoring the ball isn't on one guy. One guy can't just get the ball at the back and dribble all the way through 11 people and score the ball. If it was that easy, everybody would play. So just because he's not getting the ball in the net isn't necessarily a problem he's having either. It could be the other pieces. So,
yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good segue into our poll question for today. Mikel Arteta is still the best fit for Arsenal, agree or disagree, after Arsenal is, I think, not in shambles. I think that's harsh to say. Just struggling a little bit to find any consistency whatsoever. After, Arsenal was like, yes, Arteta, I think the ship is, got it in the right direction, it seemed like last year. And after the restart, and then all of a sudden this season, it's like, what's going on? What's the issues behind why such a poor start? Besides the goal scoring, I think is a huge issue. But is it players? Is it him? I don't know. To me, I don't think it's him personally, but you could only do so much, I think, to coach up certain guys. And the roster you have, I don't think, is good enough right now.
It's not. I mean, we've seen that over the last, at least 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I mean, you want my opinion? Is it go time? Is Is this it? Do I go now? Because or you want to wait? You want to wait and let's see, what some other people think, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. We got 2 hours here, so
yeah, just give a little teaser out there.
I can't tease this.
It's gotta be.
This is gonna be. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go. So if you don't
all or nothing.
Yeah. So if you don't want it yet, if it's too early in the show, then we'll save it. Because you want a teaser? All I'm gonna say is yes. Yes, I agree. And I'll tell you why I agree when the time is right. But I do agree. He is still the time is right. As the lead guy, he is still the best fit. He needs help. He needs help on his bench as far as a coaching staff. He needs help on his bench as far as a rotation.
Yeah. He just needs some better players out there.
Plain and simple.
It's not.
You want to compare it to another guy in this town that I guess keeps getting a bad rep because he doesn't have players. He's had 5 years. Arteta's had 363 days. He hasn't even had a full year. So it's already building up. So I'm gonna start going. We gotta get off the subject, or I'm.
I just want to throw it out there for the people.
Let the people go.
As Moses
you guys
said.
go.
But yeah, love to hear what everybody thinks. Is Arteta still the right man? Is there someone better? Is it the players? Let's find out. Again, good morning, everybody. Pete, Andy, Chucks. Patrick did say,
guys. Good morning.
Man United do not look in top form.
Depends on what league you're watching them in, I guess.
I was going to say, they seem to give up a goal right off the bat every game recently, and then they just run roughshod over whoever they're playing.
Yeah.
They need that little bit of
consistency.
Yeah. Or just not give up early goals and having to come back every game. It's got to drive you crazy.
Some teams like to play on their heels, I guess. But
I guess so.
I mean, they're sitting 6th in the table. I could have worse problems, trust me. There's definitely a lot worse problems right now, like sitting 15th in the table.
I was going to say, it could be way worse. You could be way down there.
Yeah. So if you're not in top form and you're 6th in the table, I guess be happy. I mean, you're not getting Champions League ball, but
I mean, trust me, there's a lot of games to be played that I think some of these teams will eventually figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're on United, I want to just give a random off-topic sort of, but soccer related. I want to give a big up to Marcus Rashford because I was watching. Apparently, there's been some big issues over in England right now with like food shortages and stuff like that, just like all over the world. And he, I guess, was grown up in that environment and had some big issues growing up as a kid in foster homes and stuff like that. So he's literally used his platform to fight these restrictions that I guess English Parliament tried to put on, and so far has won 2 times. And now they're trying to do some third one, and he's still fighting. But like he's basically using the fact that he's such a big prominent figure in English football, and he's kind of like gone up against them a couple times and won so far. So big props to him. I wanted to mention it at some point in the show, and since we were on United, I figured it was a good time.
Yeah, I feel that, like you said, there's a lot of pushback by the government, I guess?
Yeah.
That they wanted to stop because he was having free meals for all the school kids and whatnot. And then they're like, no, we're going to stop this. And then he fought back. And eventually they were like, okay, you're right. That'd be pretty stupid to cut all that, funding and meals off for something so great that he was doing. So it's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Oh, they're trying again, and he's back at him again. So good for him.
What up? What up?
Yo, what up, boss man?
What up? What else we got? Oh, Champions League. We had the draw on Monday. Some intriguing matchups here coming up for Champions League.
Very interesting matchups.
I know I kind of teased it in the little blurb. It is going to be Messi versus Ronaldo. I'm sorry, Neymar. Messi versus Neymar. PSG, Barcelona. That's my teaser for that whole segment. But there are some interesting matchups along the way. I thought some teams, of course, you get cakewalks, and some teams will have to be fighting in the two legs to even make it out of the round of 16, which is typical. You know,
we'll talk about that in Europa as well as you know. I called it last week. Who was going to get who in Europa League?
Mm-hmm. Happens all the time. You see it.
Yeah.
Definitely no favoritism in Europe. No grease in the pockets.
It's random.
I don't believe that.
Not one bit.
Not one bit.
Not one.
Yeah, and what else? I guess midweek, Leeds put a 5 spot up on Newcastle, which was kind of shocking.
Yeah, that was a big game for Leeds. That was that offensive explosion which we haven't seen, you know, in it feels like over a month now. They started off just scoring, and then it kind of got not slowed down, but not on the same clip that they were.
Yeah.
But they come back out with a big one against a Newcastle side that is just Newcastle.
It was actually a really entertaining game. It was back and forth, and all of a sudden, Leeds scored like 3 goals within like 10 minutes.
Yeah. It was tight for a while. It was a 2-2 game at one point, and then they just went on a run.
And Jackie Harrison with a freaking laser. Do you see that goal?
Yeah. Finished it off. What is it like? It was around the 88th minute, late in the game. Just the game sealer, Mr. Jack Harrison. Haven't heard much from him again. He started off pretty hot. Everybody was hyping him up, and then kind of has fallen back to earth a little bit. But it's good to see him doing things again for Leeds. So.
I mean, I hope he becomes. I think he might be eligible to be a U.S. international here.
You never know. He might get in those El Salvador games.
I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't it? That'd be a hell of a story.
A kid that obviously grew up in England came over to play college soccer, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Especially from like a kid overseas, you would never think that he would take the college route. But he goes to Wake Forest of all places, does really well. Gets drafted number 1 in the MLS draft?
I think he was number 1.
I think that maybe when NYCFC. Oh, Lord Walker.
Wasn't that when they first came in?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Jakey.
What up?
Oh, Lord Walker is going to be joining us here in like 10 seconds.
Awesome.
What up?
Hey! Look at that background.
He's hyped.
I'm
Love
hyped. 7-0. I'm definitely
touchdown.
Hyped.
I was going to say, putting up a touchdown early.
What, Jalen Hurts played for Liverpool today?
I'm still a Carson fan, so
I know.
that's a whole nother show.
You and half the city.
Say made you that early start time for you to get up on West Coast time makes it all worth it. Seeing that 7-0.
Absolutely. Because the game is a 5:30 start for us, and that that's rough, especially if you go out on Friday night. So, and I have some friends in town and everything from LA, so it's definitely very, very
nice.
The struggle.
The struggle is real.
Whatever will Klopp do? He's got nothing to complain about for a week. You know where I stand with your Liverpool. I just had to jazz you up. You know where I stand with your Liverpool team and that man. I love that man.
That's funny.
Coming in hot.
It's been fun. Great, yeah, definitely. It's been a great week. It's been a really great week, and I can understand, and this is coming from both of your teams that you support. I can understand when there's so much adversity that you're dealing with, and there's also you have a team that you love, and you hear so much coming at you, and in different stages of our dynasties, if you want to put it, because we've all had these little like periods of time when we really controlled the Prem. I really think that like now I understand like even what Man U supporters go through, and that when you're at the top, people are gonna really come knocking at every last little thing. And
oh yeah.
It's
everybody wants a shot at the top guy, that's the beauty of being up there and the tough part about being up there.
Oh, there's Jeff coming in hot.
There he is. He tagged me in a post on A2D already this morning about well
Hey, no, it is. When you're the top dog, everybody wants to come for you. Come for the neck.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
But now
have had that experience.
Yeah. But and right now your team's doing it, and they the thing is they answer on the field. They come back after, a really tough draw against Fulham, and you're having all this controversy going on with him, and next thing you know, they beat the Spurs. They take the top spot back. Thank God. I'll give you, I was a Liverpool fan all day that day.
I know.
There was zero chance I was rooting for it. So they make things whole again, a little bit of normalcy in 2020, and they take that top spot back. And then, they come out this morning and look what they do. I mean, I don't care who you are, who you're playing. 7-0 in a game is just, it doesn't happen often. And there's a reason why.
Sure.
So that's a statement.
I'm not certain if it was difficult to listen to the commentators in still picking on that they were up 3-0 at half, and they're still like, oh, this is Liverpool at their best form, and they're playing somewhat sloppy. I'm like, really? And then at the end of the game, it changes complete narrative, and I'm just like, okay, I understand. Again, everything is always a lot harder at the top, and again, I said for all of our teams that have been there, you realize it when everyone wants to pick and not it. I mean, for my Bobby haters,
Bobby Blue Eyes.
That's my baby man.
Adam loves him. If there's any one guy on Liverpool that Adam likes, it's Bobby Blue Eyes.
Oh, definitely. He's an amazing player, and I just can't say enough about his talent on and off the ball, his amazing skills to be able to be that linchpin that gives and serves Salah and Mane. An amazing piece of this team, and a very, very important part of it. And when people try to knock Bobby Legend, I get really agitated.
Bobby Legend. Yeah, when people were calling for Jota to take his spot, that was a little that was tough.
Premature.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That's tough. It was certainly tough. But at the time, I still was thinking that Bobby should play. But at the time, I was still starting to migrate towards. I would like to see a front four, or some type of a diamond or something along those lines. And when a player is in the form that Jota was in when he came to our team, you can't deny that player playing time.
Yeah, you got to find a way to put him on the field somehow.
Absolutely.
Well, luckily at that time you were dealing with a few knocks up top too, so it was able to get him in there in different rotational spots.
Right. Definitely.
But when you've built, like you said, a dynasty, when everybody's fit and when everybody's back ready to form, you go back with the guys who got you there. And you want to work the new guys in, but if you got those three up top fit and game ready, you play those three. Oh, I don't care how good Jota is.
Arguably the best front three in the world. And I'm not saying that I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm just saying this in pure statistics, pure just the eye test.
Yeah, that's
people like this. Absolutely.
Especially over, now it's been a little bit of a body of work too. They've been together for a while. Like you can't add, that chemistry alone and then with that talent combined. I mean, I don't see another front three better. Not especially with Suarez out of Barcelona now too. Like
exactly. And Barcelona's been having. Let's be honest. Barcelona has struggled.
Real
Madrid
they've been bad.
Struggled. And I mean, those are the two premier teams in La Liga. So I mean, you're looking at. It's a great time to be alive type deal. Despite everything else that's going on in the world, this is a great time to be a Liverpool fan and be alive to be with.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, yeah. And not so much Barcelona. I think this is an FU Messi is giving to Barcelona as a club.
Yeah. Do you guys think that Messi is out at the end of the year this summer?
I think if they lose in the first round to PSG, absolutely.
Really? And do you see Neymar?
I mean, just in general, like how many times now you've been at the same club since you were 14 years old? You had success early. There has not been success there in a lot of years now. Yeah. Like we're going on a little stretch where they're not. If you want some kind of if you want some kind of legacy, you gotta shine at least in one other spot. You gotta get that comfort out of there and show you can do it elsewhere. That's Ronaldo's done it on multiple stages. Yes. Most all great players do it on multiple stages. They've attacked other leagues and found success in other leagues where he sat in the same little comfort zone for the last 18 years.
Absolutely. I think he's definitely comfortable. I would agree with that. And I believe that some of the shine and some of the luster that, he got permitted by being, I mean, he is one of the best players in the world, arguably one of the best players in the world. And to have, that fan base that is, Barcelona's fan base is worldwide. To have that fan base and have that fervor behind you definitely is going to make you smell yourself a little bit, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
And that's,
I mean,
think is what, and trust me, I had Argentina. My roommate is from Argentina, originally, 5-6 years ago. So I heard a lot. I've always heard a lot about Mr. Messi.
And they've tried to help him out so much too, trying to bring in, they brought in Suarez, Neymar over the years. They even tried to bring in Griezmann to give him some help. And
sure,
maybe that hasn't worked out. Even Dembele, they tried to, snatch him up, and he can't stay healthy worth shit.
They always have one of the best goalkeepers in the world. They always have solid, there's always good pieces around them. The only reason I would want him to stay now at this point is for Dest's, progression. I think playing with
that'd be great.
With him for another year would be huge, but
sure. Yeah, I don't know.
That would be great. But still, I agree. That's a great point that you said with the sheer fact that they are able to play, or Ronaldo has been able to play and win at other clubs, despite, whether it's Manchester United, whether it's Real Madrid, whether now at Juvie,
Yeah.
He's done it.
He has gone all over the world and been able to be still the premier player and one of the premier players in the world.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Generational.
For sure.
Generational GOAT.
The generational GOAT. You're right.
Yeah, we had GOAT talks when Maradona died. We already had that show. So.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, to your last show when you guys commented on your gold, silver, and bronze players of all time or favorite players, I mean, yeah, Messi's definitely up there. I'm still a Pele fan, even though I didn't watch him play personally. I just know what impact Pele had on.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And he's an icon beyond icons, so that's just my personal opinion on that one.
Yeah, I think it was somebody asked what would our favorite ones growing up, who they were. And since mine was I didn't start picking up like the game until like 10, 12 years ago. I said Lewandowski because that's when he was really ascending on that Dortmund team that went to the Champions League in 2013 was like Gundogan and a young Lewandowski, like a good Nuri Sahin, like those core guys that went on to do great things with other big clubs that, I don't know, that was my team.
Yeah. Which can and he's easily probably the front runner for the balloon, as in being the top player in the world right now at the form.
Yeah, if they're going to give it out this year, since they decided, last year.
He won Player of the Year recently.
Yeah, FIFA.
To Ronaldo's demise. Just sitting there like.
I mean, he does play in the Bayern Munich practice league, so that does hurt.
No. Shot number 1 at the Bundesliga. Fuck.
Hey.
Yeah, but in last year's Champions League championship run, he had I think he set the Champions League record with goals scored in. So it's not like he just does it there; he does it everywhere.
Yeah, he is an amazing, amazing player, and I mean, arguably one of the best players to come from Dortmund. Actually, possibly one of the best players ever played for Dortmund.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly not Hummels.
I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, exactly. I'll give you that.
Oh God, that's another conversation.
Hummels had a great career.
He did. He absolutely did, and it still
just,
is. But
it's just gone on too long.
Yeah, it has. But I was going to ask you, with the form that you now see Dortmund in, do you think that they're about to purge their roster once again, in the sense of just try to cash out on their players?
Well,
I would say yes, especially. I don't know. Jadon hasn't shown up at all this year, and I don't know if it's a mental thing, whether the fact that I think he really thought in his mind he was out over summertime. Like he thought he was going to United like 100%. And then with the market and COVID, United just was lowballing Dortmund, price wise. And they're like, no, we want to hold out for 100 million at least, which he's probably worth it. And I don't know if that messed with him mentally or what, but he has not been the same player watching him this season.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I agree with that.
If I'm
and the sheer fact that still $100+ million, they're looking for $100+ million for a transfer fee for him. That's tough. It's really tough to see them getting that now in the form that he's in.
I think the smartest thing they can do is sell Sancho, sell Haaland, and start building this team around Gio. You gave Gio what? I think you just gave him 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, I mean you gave Gio a 5-year contract. The kid just turned 18 years old. You know, why not? You're gonna get the money now for Haaland. Why keep holding on? You know, like he at some point he's gonna get frustrated about sitting there playing losing football. I mean,
again, Adam, you gotta talk up on this point. This is your squad. I mean,
I know
selling all your best players is never like you just said. Haaland, possibly one of the best definitely one of the best up and coming talents at striker in the world
by far.
And then you bring in Jordan, and like honestly, one of the most anticipated English players to be out on the market in essence, even though he did sign a new deal. But how do you ever want to pass on from being called the Bayern Munich Practice League if you don't invest and stick with your players? Develop your academy players, bring them up, and stick with your players. That's where you really have to find. That's how you find your Steven Gerrards. You know, that's how. Hey, that's how you find who I think is having a phenomenal year. That's how you find and I call him, my nickname is for him is Cujo, but Curtis Jones is having a phenomenal year so far.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, to be under 21 and in a league playing at the level that they're playing, you have to do something that brings that kind of excellence to your team by keeping a unit together and making them understand the soccer format that they're supposed to play, and developing it so that when you do bring your academy players in, or you do bring players from other leagues or other teams, they just fit naturally into the format. And that's something I believe is why Liverpool has done so well despite the injuries that we've seen this year.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Klopp do it at Dortmund. I mean, he's pretty much brought that same mentality to Liverpool. And
Absolutely.
I mean, to piggyback off what you're saying, if that's the case, you're going to sell like Haaland and Sancho. You're pretty much just giving up and saying, you know, have at it, Bayern. I mean, they can barely compete anyway with all these players.
Exactly.
You bring in Jude Bellingham, another 16-year-old, you know, English prodigy. Obviously, Gio's only 18 or whatever he is. I mean, it's a lot of young core guys.
Yeah.
And this Moyakoko kid, he's 16. He scored yesterday, youngest goal scorer in the Bundesliga history. You have to keep these players if you want to compete. If not, it's going to be the same old story. Bayern's just going to win year after year, and that's just going to be how it goes. And you're never going to have that league up to where you want.
Here's my thing, and here's my take. You're assuming that they care to win the Bundesliga. I think that ownership could care less to win the Bundesliga, and they're going to take their top guys and they're going to turn them into money because they are so successful at building an academy and bringing players up and getting them to perform. And then they bring back the retreads in guys that were there that are finishing their career, and they're solid enough to finish in the top 2, top 3 every year, make Champions League. They get into a group that they're good enough to get out of, and they do just enough. They get to the round of 16, and they put more money in their pockets, and they're good at that's the thing. They're in their mind, they're
spoken
good
like
enough.
A true Arsenal fan, happy with mediocrity.
I'm saying
I'm like, interesting that you would take that, you would have that take as a gunner.
Listen, we haven't. I waited to answer the poll question until you came on because I didn't want to go on my rant earlier. So you'll hear my take on them as well. But I'm just saying it's not necessarily that's how I feel. I'm just saying you have to assume that's not how ownership of that team feels, because what's the realistic thought that year after year, really, you're going to compete with Bayern for the Bundesliga? I don't care what you do. I don't care how much money you spend, how many guys you hold on to. You're still going to be just grinding to have a chance to be within a few points of Bayern at the end of the Bundesliga season. So why not just continue to have this money flowing, showing that you have a great academy? And, you know, the more you continue to do that, guess what? The next time you have a guy that plays decent, you might get somebody to overpay for him.
That's
because of your success, your prior success.
I definitely think it's an interesting take to say we're gunning for second. We're looking to our goal is to be third in the league. Like
there's a lot of teams in a lot of leagues that is their goal. That's
absolutely
the tough part and the beauty of this sport.
United unfortunately had to migrate towards that type of mentality. Sure, as long as I make the Champions League, Man U owners are cool with it. I understand that can be, but as a fan,
I'm not.
And Facebook. I didn't see the message completely, but the Facebook message was on point that said, you know, that's not fair to the fans of that actual.
I don't disagree. You're not only are you talking to an Arsenal fan, you're talking to a Red Bull. Well, a denounced Red Bull fan. I mean, come on, like
fandom over.
I got you.
Yeah, that is.
I know it's not fair to the fans. I know it's not fair, but that's what I'm saying. It's not that that's my. I'm just saying it seems like a very distinct possibility. That's their attitude and that's their mentality. Looking at the recent history of how Dortmund has been operating.
I would say, don't tell the fans that.
Right.
It's a hard blue-collar city that.
I mean, he's a big fan. Don't tell your co-host that, I should say, right? So
No, I know. That's just my observation about, you know, how it seemed of recent. And again, they are producing great players though. And
that
continuous.
Could be a big reason as to why Klopp is no longer there. If you take that tact, and again, just like, you know, him watching Lewandowski go to Bayern, like the best scorer in the league.
Hurt my heart. Hurt my heart, Lord Walker. Hurt my heart.
I mean, understand that logic. You could have paid them 200 million euros. It still wouldn't make sense to me to say you're going to trade your best player.
Götze
and with the
Hummels.
With the core talent, the core talent. If you're just going to be a feeder system for the best team, then again, it's the Bayern Munich practice league.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Jake? How's it going?
I know. It hurts my heart when you sell your best players to your rival, who are beating you year in and year out, by the way.
Absolutely.
I got my pants on today.
Damn you.
I got my Bayern pants on today.
The only thing I want to see Bayern do is develop Chris Richards. In that way, he is eventually the U.S. men's national team center back.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
That's the one thing I hope Bayern does. Other than that, they can go pick rocks.
Speaking of Alfonso, first North American voted to the best 11 in the world ever.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's exceptional.
Number one left back in the world right now. Cool.
I was going to say, speaking of, as in U.S. men's national team players playing abroad, you know, and since we do have an Arsenal loyalist, Balogun, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, right? The 19-year-old.
Florian Balogun.
As he's looking to be the odd man out possibly at Arsenal. And he's scoring more goals than your main striker.
Here it is. Here it is.
So
Here it is.
You opened the can of the worms. You opened the can of worms, Dan. Bon appetit. You know.
There you go.
Well,
there it is.
This will sound real familiar to a town that maybe paid somebody that shouldn't have been paid when they got paid. And I mean, let's go on the poll question. Is it the players? Is it the coach?
There you go. Floor is yours. Get out there.
It's not the coach. It's not the coach. And I'll tell you why it's not the coach. The man has been there for 363 days. He has not had an entire calendar year with this team. In that time, he's won 29 games. He's lost 13 and he's drew, 9? He's won a Super Cup. He's won an FA Cup. He has to play defense with David Luiz, who they decided to pay for an additional year. Mustafi, who's still been under contract. They overpay Aubameyang at 30 years old to be this great scorer when you probably had already gotten the best out of him because of how late his development was. Another Dortmund guy, you know. You held on to Lacazette for what? Nostalgia? Because you wanted to pull back Eddie Nketiah off of loan from Leeds because Leeds was looking like they were going to get promoted. Not to play him, but just to make sure he wasn't on that Leeds roster when they got promoted. Because why would you play him? Why would you play a 20-year-old guy who can put the ball in the net over, a guy who's already kind of run his course that a lot of teams were offering decent money for? You bring in a great central defensive midfielder.
Who do you replace him?
Who?
Who do you replace him? Like what player on Arsenal that do you say is a bona fide world star and Premier League killer? What player are you
on this roster?
Everyone is lining up at your doors to try and take away from you. What player would you? What player has market value like that on Arsenal? And I don't have
right now.
Yeah.
Right now, one, maybe two. Saka.
Okay.
And Gabriel.
Okay.
Your two
okay.
brightest, youngest players that you have to build around. You can't let go. Everybody else, you should take your money on the dollar and just rebuild. Go with the youth. Go with what I said from the beginning that Chelsea had to do. Yeah, William, who's 40. Do what Chelsea had to do when Frank was facing a transfer ban 2 years ago and had to play the youth and had to see what he had and was forced to basically go with, the Mason Mounts and the Tammy Abrahams. And guess what that did? That showed what you had, that won you games, and then it was able to allow you to bring pieces into them and form a better team. But they don't do that. And I don't know if it's all Arteta's choice. I don't know if this is coming from above his head where, hey, we're paying this guy X amount of dollars. He needs to be on the pitch. Like, I don't know. I don't know why ownership hasn't found an out for Ozil yet.
Right.
I don't know why Granit Xhaka has a job.
Yeah. Oh, well,
I mean, but these are like.
I still to this day thought that, just to interject one quick point, I have still to this day thought as soon as he flipped the bird to the fans, the door was the first base that he should have seen.
Yep.
In your first week as captain of a team, you flipped the bird to fans and ripped your captain band arm off and threw it on the ground when you got subbed out of game. How are you still wearing that uniform?
That's a good captain right there.
If I'm ownership, I write you a check and you don't ever play for me again. But see, that's not how sports are done anymore, and that's the sad part.
Well, I was going to say to some of the comments that have been posted, the most red-carded team in the Prem right now, that's still a reflection of the coach. And then, fortunately, he has not instilled this
discipline
mentality that he was supposed to be bringing. You know, this Manchester City mentality of organization and class and everything else to this squad. And you haven't seen that. Because if anything, they look a hot mess.
Well, one is every good coach has a number 2, and he doesn't have his number 2 right now. And I think that hurts him. That's a lot of pressure put on him. And 2, it was there. It was there. There was early signs of it. They were the number 1 defensive team in the Prem from the time he took over up until about 2 months ago. They won some big games. I mean, they've won games that an Arsenal team has not won in 14 years. They've gone to Old Trafford and won.
As hard as you can.
But just not even the Shield, but the FA Cup.
I know. I know. I know about your FA Cup. I hear about it in every forum I've ever been in my life that has a Gunner fan. FA Cup.
How do you have control of a team when you bring in a 33-year-old defender that's played at every level around the world, that he's there for a paycheck? He's not listening to you. He's not listening to any word Arteta has to say about how to play the game. He goes out there and he pulls on guys' jerseys because that's what he's used to. He plays stupid and he collects his paycheck because they gave him another year extension. That's not Arteta's fault. Arteta was gifted that. Arteta brought in Gabriel. That's his first move. Good move. Like, you got to give the guy an opportunity. You got to give him the players he wants. He's gotten 2 guys he wants so far. That's it. He needs another, and you've been in a weird transfer window. That wasn't a normal transfer window. We were in a COVID transfer window.
What about Nicola Pepe, the $80 million stud?
That wasn't Arteta's choice. Pepe was there before Arteta. None of these were his decisions. He has to play. He's played 35 different players. 35 different players in how many games? 50 games? That's not fair to him.
Yeah.
Klopp didn't even put a sub in against Tottenham. You didn't even have a sub in that game. He's running out 35 different guys. And half of them have talent. That's all I got to say. I can't kill him. I can't kill him.
I get it. I mean,
I got to give him a chance.
It's not a fun place to be.
It's not. And we're not even going to be there much longer.
Probably not.
We got another month, and that's only because it's pushed back to February.
Yeah. Okay. You got Man U there with you. So.
Yeah, but who? Yeah, but we drew Benfica. We're going to be out in the first round. Although they got Sociedad, so they might be out too.
Yeah. That is a tough draw. But
yeah. And
I was just going to say your comment about the elder statesman that is your defenseman. The whole reason why one of the major reasons why, I should say, not the only, but one of the major reasons why Chelsea has had such an amazing resurgence is because they brought in Thiago Silva, who is definitely long in the tooth, but he has brought a definite level approach to their back four, and that much I can't give.
Oh yeah, I've never seen Kurt Zuma play so well.
Thiago Silva and David Luiz are they're like oil and water as far as
The only thing they have in common is they're both Brazilian. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they were both on the pitch when I was gonna say they were both on the pitch when Germany put 7 up on them in the World Cup. That's
yeah. There you go.
That's the only. But
That's tough.
Thiago's always played with composure. He's a defender that plays with composure. David Luiz has never played with composure.
That's
But at the
facts.
same time, with his bloody head, possibly concussion. I don't even know. That is one.
Oh, he was not. Yeah.
Down for it. No, I mean, they have to take account for the fact that man should have never continued on.
That's getting installed.
In that game.
Everything I read, that concussion sub is that's getting pushed up very quickly, and that's going to be getting installed in most leagues soon. By the end of the January transfer window, they're going to add that concussion sub to an additional sub spot because
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what I loved about that?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, the only thing I loved about that was, when advertising on A2D and everybody wants to say how soft of a sport soccer is. Look at that man with his head wrapped after he just crushed another man's skull going out there and finishing the game. And, some of these other guys, they get hit with helmets on and they're out for 6 weeks. So.
Yeah. And the point I was going to bring up is that, sorry, real quick, Adam. The point I was just going to bring up is that with his play, with Luis' play, that toughness, that pure dog, you can't deny that. I mean, he's had some stinker of games, but he still goes out there, fights hard, plays his butt off, and that much I can respect out of him. I'm not a fan of him at all, but I can respect that. And when he was knocked on the ground, the sheer fact that he wanted to still play on, he still wanted to be out there with his teammates, that is something that you can't deny is a beautiful factor that you have to have as a factor in your squad if you're going to have success.
Thiago's a leader. David Luiz is not a leader.
He's not. But I mean, he's a leader by example. I believe. That's what I'm saying.
Again, I like a toughness. I like a tough guy. I like the toughness. I like a guy that's been around that can kind of add that into the team without a doubt. But for every moment like that, there's a moment where he gets beat by 10 steps and he tugs a guy's jersey in the box and gets a red card and gives up a PK and leaves his team high and dry. So it's I don't know where the trade-off becomes fair.
And he's always been like that, though.
Yeah.
He's always been that reckless David Luiz. Even since
there's no question he's a baller. He's definitely a baller. He's tough.
When he was in France, he was that player, So,
yeah.
I mean, you knew what you were getting.
Yeah.
And
I know.
That's what was what you got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I wasn't hyped as bad as their defense was before him. I was happy when he signed. It was a nice, refreshing look over Mustafi.
It's not good enough. Not good enough.
Yeah, it's not.
Rob Holding, really? A starting Premier League defender? Get the hell out of here. That man belongs in a championship.
I don't know where things have gone wrong right now with Saliba, but apparently
they're looking to put him out on loan.
I know. They put him out on loan as soon as they got him. They sent him right back when they first got him, and then they pulled him back off a loan, and I thought that the pairing was going to be him and Gabriel took the reins, but Saliba just has not. I mean, I don't.
And
it is what it is.
Eddie brought up Martinelli. I saw him play in the U23s.
Yeah, he's still around. He's
a solid player, I believe.
He's had some big time injuries. He's that's been his issue.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we said earlier with the whole the whole Pulisic and McKennie thing, availability is the key. And if you're not out there, I mean, that opened the door for Saka. Saka wasn't playing. Martinelli was playing. And then Martinelli got hurt, and Saka took the reins, and now, it's hard to take him out of there. He's one of the only guys that shows up each week.
That's true.
He doesn't even get to play all the time. So I don't know. Maybe it's personal issues. I was going to bring it up. John Stones apparently has a brand new focus, according to Pep, because he ditched his longtime girlfriend and got single. Now he's enjoying single life as a baller in England, and now John Stones is taking Laporte's job. So maybe, maybe that's the way to go.
Less of a
he had
headache.
He had an angry old lady at home holding him back.
Right. I was going to
That's
say,
what it is.
Just thank your world, Burnley and West Brom, and you have your Sheffield Uniteds, that you're not going to be facing relegation. That's how I would.
We just lost to Burnley for the first time ever in top flight soccer.
And an own goal for Aubameyang to put icing on the cake.
Yeah, that was the first goal Aubameyang scored in a month.
Falling on tough times, brother.
We have a 3-point lead on Brighton. For 16th.
Oh, Mr. Kroenke's doing the Lord's work.
It's sad. You know why Pepe got 70 million? You know why?
Hype.
Because before he signed that contract that year, he had like 5 specialty cards in FIFA. He got that FIFA bump. That was a year in Ultimate Team. He got these like every week he was getting a new specialty card at Lille. And then they were like, "Oh yeah.
He played well in the French league.
Yeah.
So let's sign him for 70 mil.
Arsenal relegated. Jeff, you're smoking crack. I don't care how bad. They will not.
Let him know, Jeff.
They won't get relegated. They can't. And you know what's crazy?
You're not that bad to get relegated. There's some bad teams,
but listen,
like Lord Walker said.
Bad teams.
Sheffield's very bad.
Right now, they're one of them. They're pretty bad. They're not relegated bad, but they're bad.
I don't think they're that bad.
What the scary thing about it is, and my squad faced it against Fulham. You're playing against a team that most likely you should control and be able to beat handily, and yet, hey, without even when you do have, Fulham didn't have fans Fulham did have, fans in the stadium, and that made a difference, I believe, for Fulham. But not every team has fans yet, and it does make a difference, I believe. It's that driving force sometimes that can push that team over the top, and without that, and with it here and there throughout the Premier, you're going to possibly see some real strange games that you just can't understand how that actually happened. But yeah,
that's what we were saying about Sheffield. The team that's gotten hurt the worst with the whole COVID thing is Sheffield, because with nobody in the seats, at least you get those games where you got the crowd urging you on when you need it. And now it's just like there's nobody there. They don't got that energy. They don't have that backing that they need to get that goal or whatever the case may be. Now they're just Sheffield. They're just blah.
Do you realize that pre-COVID we were talking about Sheffield possibly getting a Champions League spot? No. To the point where they're at 13 games into the season, they have 1 point.
You might have been, but I am Sheffield United out. Ever since the club.
Hold on.
I am so.
Yeah, but
Sheffield United.
But I'm saying I'm going back pre-COVID. They were one of the best teams in the Prem last year. And there wasn't much time left.
Yeah.
They definitely overachieved.
They overachieved for sure.
And and City hadn't written their paycheck yet to UEFA to make sure that they stayed in Champions League. So
Well, I was going to say real quick too. I think the biggest difference though is Henderson. I mean, they don't have a goalkeeper that basically kept them in a lot of those games.
Yep.
And when you take out a goalkeeper, being a former goalkeeper, yeah, I believe that you're the last stop. If you suck, your team sucks.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as that. So
Good soccer teams are built from the back, period.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper, defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge loss.
You'll always find guys that put balls in the net. You need defense and you need a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And also score.
That's a difference. That's a major difference. And
it looks like he supplanted De Gea.
Well, yes, and it does. And but at the same time, that was a very sloppy, nervous goal that he gave up in the very beginning. And he luckily had a team behind him that picked him up from there. But I mean, Adam should know too well. If your keeper is not good,
your team's not
no matter
good.
how much you pay for it.
Oh, don't get Eddie started now.
And that affects the whole team, the back line. And now it's like, hey, like you said about Thiago, I've never seen Kurt Zuma play so well. It's because he has a guy next to him that he feels comfortable with and that he can maybe take the ball up the field. He knows Thiago's got his back. Not when you have Andy Christensen next to you. I'm not feeling comfortable at all. And a dumbass in net. You got two guys back there I don't have any faith in, and that starts to fuck with your head. And that's when you see a bad Kurt Zuma.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Because when you don't have confidence in that goaltender behind you, that's the last line of defense right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know when to take those chances all of a sudden. You don't know if you do take that chance, you'll have that goaltender behind you that can, pick you up, a great save. That's a major difference. Major difference.
Eddie, do you want me to send you the link so you can come on and rant about Kepa? Because I know he's steaming right now. That's his boy. Kepa Brown Jr.
Worst spent money Chelsea's had besides Danny Drinkwater's like $50 million paycheck.
I keep trying to get Eddie on. This is a perfect time to get him on so he can defend his boy Kepa.
Man,
he loves him.
Screw Kepa.
Oh, that's his boy. Interesting.
Eddie loves Kepa. Eddie loves Kepa.
I'll get rid of him for a bag of peanuts.
Every time Mendy makes a mistake, Eddie breaks the internet with pictures of Kepa.
which Mendy's had some interesting moments recently.
He has, but that kid can play, man. It's a big transition from where he's coming from to this league. You're not facing offensive firepower like that consistently playing at Rennes that you're facing week in and week out being the Chelsea #1 goalie. I'm sorry. There's an adjustment there.
But his mistakes aren't even like quality mistakes. They're just like boneheaded, like he's got to be more decisive when he comes out of his net. That Patrick Bamford one we talked about, he was too indecisive. He didn't know whether to go or come and stay. And then he bundles over Calvert-Lewin last week, clumsy as hell.
Yeah, look how the mighty have fallen, too. You got City fans up here talking bad on Ederson. The guy's been one of the best goalkeepers in the world for the last and now all of a sudden they're all calling for
Zach Steffen, get him in there.
Really. And again, sometimes even the color blue makes me kind of nauseous, but all the same, Ederson, Brazil quite possibly has the two best goaltenders in the world, two of the best goaltenders in the world.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And
yeah,
I wouldn't go as far as to say that Ederson is a problem for Manchester City. Personally, that's my opinion. I don't think that
They haven't
if I was
scored.
the Manchester City squad, and I wouldn't say, "Oh, let's focus on Ederson improving his play."
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of other places I would have to fix before I would worry about replacing Ederson.
I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest things that City is looking for is when David Silva left the team, that made a huge hole of the way that they connect their passes, the way that they get that ball from. Because I mean, Pep's another play from the back style coach, and once it does get into that midfield, you know, the sheer brilliance of that man was definitely something that I think that you notice now is no longer there. And it's the same thing as their back line. When Company left, another big hole just left your squad. And then to say though, oh well, you know, this and that. But then again, hey, I'm not a Pep defender because Pep has had easily the most money spent on players. And that team is a Pep team. No matter what you want to say or this or that, he has a blank checkbook to get.
Yeah. Everybody in that roster was handpicked by him. There was nobody forced on him in that.
Right.
That's true.
You know, and it's kind of interesting how, you know, you really see a lot of these. I really don't think there's that many Man City fans as they would like to think there are. They're definitely the Yankees versus the Mets, you know, type scenario in Manchester.
Yeah.
But
except they think they're the Yankees because they own part of them.
Right, exactly.
But they're sadly mistaken. Yeah.
No.
They have Yankees money.
Yeah.
The only real
No.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the Houston Astros. Cheating and just good in the last like 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I said it.
Bold statement.
I said it. Somebody's got to.
Yeah, for sure. That's a very bold statement. I like it.
But yeah, Ederson being an issue is like the last thing on the list for City, I think.
For City right now, yeah. I mean, one of the other lists I would say, and I think he's one of the most talented players in the world as well, is KDB. You know, I think he is not at his pinnacle form right now. And even at not pinnacle form, he's still one of the best players in the world. That's how amazing of a player he is.
Yeah, easily.
Still, you know. And hey, I'll say the Benedict Arnold, which is Raheem Sterling. His you could say whatever you want about Firmino. I understand that he doesn't score as many goals as everyone would like to see him play. And this is something that I would like to ask you both as well to understand my point, is that with Firmino, for instance, I think that if Firmino was your Haaland, was like your even your Giroud, you know, like that player that you're trying to target. Salah and Mane become totally different players. If you're relying on Salah and Mane to be a feeder system for like your Lewandowski style striker, you're not going to have the brilliance that you have and that you see from Salah and Mane.
Right.
You know, and that's just something that I think that right now you're seeing. And what if we segue even to Manchester City, you know, Sergio not being there, about Aguero being there, that is a huge hole.
I was going to say that would probably be number 1 or 2 in my list. When not having Aguero there.
Yeah.
Because they're not really getting scoring from Gabby.
Yeah. And I think that he's an exceptional player.
Mm-hmm.
He's an exceptional player. But it's like saying, oh, well, yeah, why don't you go take Ronaldo's spot and give me the performance or the kind of performance that he brings. Or yeah, you're good. Go Messi's hurt a little while. Why don't you go fill in his spot? And I want to see that exceptionalism.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I agree. I like Gabby. I think he's a good player, but I mean, Aguero is just a different breed.
Sure.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that always had a nose for the net, no matter what.
Yeah.
And when you lose that scoring, that hurts you. But that's another reason Arsenal's so bad. I mean, that's Aubameyang not scoring the ball. You're paid. Yeah. That's all you're paid to do is put that ball in the net. And when you stop, I mean, you
stop, and I understand what your point is. But again, when you have Arteta, who is a defensive-minded coach, and you have him having Aubameyang track back as much as he has to, and being a Firmino-style striker in a sense, in that he's playing defense. He's really not being able to be that target man that he was, the year before. What do you expect?
Well, that's why I don't understand. It goes back to why are you signing? Like, they needed to make a decision when they decided to give Aubameyang that money.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe Arteta wasn't the perfect coach to bring in, or to where Arteta might have been the perfect coach to bring in. Then you didn't need to spend that money on Aubameyang, and you could have started to build from the back, because that's what he needs to do for his formation. It was a combo of the two. They brought in a great coach, and they brought back a guy who's a great scorer, but they don't seem to pair up together. And that's becoming the difficult part, is he's trying to put him in a position that's not successful, but that's what he knows. That's why I keep hammering. I hope that there's a possibility of it, and I haven't heard anything yet that, maybe they can get Vieira to come back into Arsenal, where everybody wanted Vieira as a possible before they even brought Arteta in. Maybe he'd be willing to be the number 2. Maybe he'd be willing to be the offensive help, the offensive mind to Arteta's defense. But see, that's an old Arsenal thing. That's not a Kroenke Arsenal thing. He probably doesn't even know who Patrick Vieira is.
Bring in Henry.
Yeah. Well,
hey, I love Henry.
We're definitely not going to leave my good friend Adam out of the fray. And you're lovely, looking like a lovely signing, and something that I appreciate. You're going to hear a compliment from me. I appreciate that you stepped up and saved my team from spending the money that you spent on Kai Havertz at the current time. Okay, I appreciate that.
Of course.
That, now
open the pocketbook up after a transfer ban. This is what you get.
Yeah. And spending like there wasn't one, spending like there wasn't a pandemic. Yeah.
That's just Roman sitting in Russia with his checkbook open. What do you want, Frank? Yep, I got you.
Well, how do you feel about his play so far this year? Are you okay with it?
Havertz? No, not really. I mean, and there's been a lot of clamoring for why he's struggled. And it looks like the Premier League is a little too fast for him at this point.
Okay.
I didn't really watch him that much at Leverkusen, but my brother, who's the reason why I'm a Chelsea fan, saw a lot of his tape and said, you know what? You're not going to like the way he looks on the field. He's very just slow. He's not like this jolt of lightning out there on the pitch, running around, defending. He just kind of jogs around, does his little work. That's how he plays.
Ozil.
And again, that's
excuse me.
That's a German left-footed player who is on the outs. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's not getting it at this point in time, which is concerning. Timo, on the other hand, if he just finished half of his chances, he'd probably have 4 more goals than he does.
Absolutely.
He gets in great positions. I love Timo. He's the complete opposite of Kai. That man will run around like a chicken with his head cut off.
He's a light bulb.
But he has purpose of his movements. And I don't know. Sometimes they don't see him. When he wants to get in behind you. He wants to run in behind. And sometimes there's, Contes or whoever's playing in the midfield doesn't pick their head up and realize he's making a great run. That's another frustrating part. Like, I saw that's upsetting a lot of Chelsea fans and myself. You got to see him. That's what his game is.
Yeah, and Eddie, I said it. I think it was.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was last week. They're playing Timo out of position right now. Exactly. They're not healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have never thought that you would have had Timo playing a wing position.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They haven't found a home. Good. They haven't even really found a set home for Kai.
Right.
No.
And it also hurts. I would say it hurts, but again, it's one of those like, oh, it's a nice problem to have. But the way that Giroud is playing right now, how you can see starting Timo in his place is a hard sell.
Right.
He is definitely one of the most informed players on that squad that you have, easily.
Oh yeah,
he's still doing it.
He had a great goal last week too. So.
But that goes back to my whole point with this whole big money grab, big money spend anyway. Was it so necessary?
It wasn't.
You already made the run last year to get in the Champions League again with that youth, with those key pieces around it. Did you need to go spend $260 million? I don't think so. I think you could have just added, the Ziyech adding was huge if he could stay healthy, with Pulisic healthy. I mean, honestly, you talk bad about Willian for Arsenal. You could have cheaply brought back Willian to be a rotational winger who was comfortable at Chelsea. You could have added.
You're not happy with that at all?
I didn't want Willian. Not for what
you guys were done.
Interesting.
I don't know.
One of your most consistent players, though.
He was fantastic last year. He was probably the best player, honestly.
So?
He was one of your best players last year.
I know.
Yeah.
Not for 2 years and like a shit ton of money.
The curse of them lifting that ban on Chelsea is, I think it's going to hurt them. I said that. I said that when you and I first started all this, that one of the best things that happened to them was them being forced to dig into their academy and bring Tammy back off the loan when Villa got promoted and, go with what they had to go with. The guys not just go out and sign every guy with a name. Because the truth is, where Kai Havertz belongs? Kai Havertz needed another stepping stone still. Kai Havertz needed to go from Leverkusen to Dortmund. Or Kai Havertz needed to go to Bayern to where there wasn't so much pressure, where he could stay in Germany and develop a little bit. He was 20 years old. Taking that's a huge jump to Chelsea, to the Prem, people don't realize that. Leverkusen to Chelsea is monstrous. It's monstrous. And I don't think he was quite ready, to be honest. I think he needed one more stop along the way. Some guys, they play well enough where they don't have to make that stop, and sometimes it really hurts their career. They get thrown into a fire where they weren't ready, and it just looks like right now he's not ready.
I mean,
This goes to Adam. I was going to pose a question to Adam. Is that, again, your boy Frank takes your top scorer, because I believe Tammy was the top scorer for you guys last year, right?
Yeah.
And says, okay, cool. Here's your seat on the bench. And, and now, like, he's in and out of form, I believe, simply from the fact of he doesn't know when he's getting in. And now, he doesn't know when he's going to be he should be playing possibly some real starter minutes, and You bring in top signing in Timo, and you bring in, all these different, like, really young, not proven, but definitely, I'm not saying that they don't have talent. I'm not saying that they don't have a chance to become perennial stars in the league. But you're now saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to allow for them to play. They haven't shown anything. They haven't proven anything, but I'm going to allow for them to play. And now you're stuck on this. Well, I just paid this guy $18 million to come to this squad. What am I going to have him sit on the bench? Like, you're going to be forced to play Kai in that role. You're going to be, and there's a lot of people, and I have other Blues friends other than yourself that really, really look at, you can't really lay off of him and this and everything and that. He was the top signing for you. He's like, you spent the most money on this guy. If you don't think that warrants any type of criticism, that is soft. If you're coming that much.
No, you have to make an impact. If you're paying that much, you have to come in and make an impact. And he hasn't.
Exactly.
He really has not. And why? I have no idea. Again, I think he's used to the German league. It is way different, like Brian said. It is leaps and bounds better. The Prem is so much better than the Bundesliga, different style of play. And I don't know, he just looks out of place, which again is another concerning thing to me. Like, he's not flashy. He's just not flashy.
He's not.
And
I thought he was going to be. I mean, like, he was definitely warranted.
The best game he's got was a fucking League Cup game against the championship side. I don't know. I agree. I think Tammy. I thought maybe they would play two up top with Tammy and Timo in the beginning of the season, but I don't know, because Tammy's more of a hold-up guy, and Timo wants to get in behind.
Where would you put CP then? Where would you put Christian?
I don't know.
On the bench because he's hurt all the time.
Oh, wow. Don't say that.
It pains me. It deep down inside as a U.S. fan it does, but you can't plan your game plan around him right now.
It's facts.
And that's why Adam just got into it with a dude on social media the other day, because they're talking how Pulisic deserved it over McKinney for 2020 U.S. Player of the Year. How? When he's missed half of 2020 with injuries. He's a great talent. He changed that team, like Adam said, after COVID. He helped Chelsea make that run back to Champions League. But then he gets hurt again. Yeah.
Which is a shame, because
it sucks because we need him.
He's a great person personally.
I've
met him numerous times. He's a great guy. And when I hear those things as a U.S. men's national team supporter, those things hurt.
Yeah.
Because
I
don't want to see him.
I laugh it off because
I don't want to see him hurt, because that hurts us as a U.S. supporter.
Oh yeah, Adam and I have talked about it. Like, this core of players is fantastic if it's built around him as our veteran leader. But if he's not going to be available, it just really hurts this group. I mean, going into 2022 and 2026, like, he needs to be healthy, available, and that guy for this team to succeed.
As my bold take, then, having heard that point, then I guess does that make us Dortmund and Mexico Byron? Is that how we would say we're in a second fiddle? We're playing for second place?
Yep. Yep.
Wow, that hurt.
Yep.
At least for another, not for I don't think for much longer, but I think right now we haven't shown that we're not still.
No. I love the fact that we're at where we're at with our U.S. national team. To be honest with you, with the youth and the core that we have is so amazing, because we had to make that. Even when we made that transition from that '94 World Cup team with the Lawless and the Tony Miolas and that whole squad, the Balboas, to go and make that transition to what became, what we probably love as one of our favorite U.S. national teams, which is like, the Dempseys and such. Like that team alone is something of where you have to know you're going to have a transition, in a stage of transition. And unfortunately, by us not making the World Cup, by us having to go through what we had to go through, it opened up that youth door where it was like, okay, bring it. Bring the youth in, focus on them, have them be the core, really like phase out all those, I don't want to call them old heads because there are a lot of them are my friends, but I'm an old head too. So
old heads.
Yeah, I won't name any names because I know you got some buddies out there, but we've talked about a few that their time served was nice, but it's if I ever see them in a U.S. national team uniform again, I
Michael Bradley.
Exactly.
Yeah,
thank you for your service and
there you go.
You served
take
us
up
well.
coaching.
To you and your dad.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I said 2026. It's a year. It's a story where we compete on our home soil.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But we need Captain America. We need him. So he's got to get healthy.
Yeah,
that's true. And this is the most exciting time. I'm telling you. Even that Owen Atasowi, who got on the field for Wolves the other day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Dude,
we're
all over Europe, man.
There's so many.
We're all over here. Yeah.
So many.
We're not used to this. We don't know how to act.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yes. We talked about Fulham being the USA feeder system almost into the Prem, and now we don't. Not this. I mean, we do have a player on Fulham now currently, but I mean, still, we don't
sort of
have to rely on these kinds of teams anymore, which is amazing.
Right.
It's a totally different world for American players that we're playing on perennial forces such as Chelsea, or whether at Juve, or all over the map, and it's great to see.
Yeah, dude, we went through the remaining. Yeah, no, we're the same way. Like, we're not. It's not a knock on MLS, but like, you want to see if your best players are playing in the best leagues around the world, then that's a good sign. If they're all coming from your in-home league, that's not necessarily a good sign.
Yeah. And can I say that is a huge difference between Arena, when he was the coach at least, and even Jurgen, in his approach. Because, you wouldn't have had your Joneses, you wouldn't have had these players, these German player living in Germany but having U.S. ties players.
Timmy Chandler.
Yeah.
That's
that's been our knock on Berhalter, and he seems to have shaken that need to bring a team full of MLS guys. I think he's finally decided that his best opportunity to keep his job is to get our best players, no matter where they're playing, and get them and build a team with them.
That's literally, he doesn't even have to look that hard. It's out there. Just
yeah.
And
we went.
How about that?
Whoa, there's a guy on Barcelona, Juve, Bayern, Dortmund. Should I pick those guys? Yeah, you probably should.
Dude, that's what we're saying. Go through the final 16 teams in Champions League right now, and almost every one of them has at least one U.S. player on it. That's
exciting,
crazy.
It's only getting started. I'm telling you, this is just the beginning, and you're seeing it with the Aaronsons. McKinney,
trying to make a comeback.
McKenzie's ready to come up. This Brian Reynolds, I believe, on FC Dallas, he played one full season for the first team at Dallas, and Bayern's already looking at him.
Yeah.
It's definitely a difference, and I mean, and it's also because I believe MLS, because the transfer fees aren't going to be so astronomical as going to, like, another Bundesliga team or La Liga team or something along those lines. Being able to pluck a player from, unfortunately, the MLS, because I mean you're also going to see a talent obviously leave the MLS. I would love to see great soccer here in America, and if they're getting plucked from our domestic league, it's definitely more difficult to say that the a few American players that not few, but the American players that are here still playing, for them to continue to grow and to continue to get better. It makes it a little bit more difficult.
I said the academies are just getting so much better now too.
Absolutely.
And I mentioned this last week. People are taking the academy route as a young kid and going through the academies instead of going to college.
Yeah. Which is
definitely I think the last step away from what we need, and I'm so pro of it. It's I always have been, is getting our league now to a relegation type. If you look at the depth of where U.S. soccer is now, of just, and again, not necessarily of the talent level, but of just organizations, and now established organizations, from the USL Championship to League One to, what is it, the NSAL or whatever, it's getting to that point where, I mean, that's I think when we'll really know we've got there. When we get to that and we break that mold of American sports, and and get to playing this game and treating this game the way it is all over the world, compared to taking it and trying to do it our way, because that's been the issue.
Right. No, I was going to just say that, being in a state and being in a city, actually, that I would love to see Phoenix Rising make it into the MLS. I believe that they could and should deserve to be there, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I think your relegation point might only because of your hate of Cincinnati. But
I'm glad you're paying attention, my friend.
I know that you'd love to see it. For sure.
That's where it stems from.
I'd like to play them with my Sunday League team.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, they're talking about MLS and Liga MX combining. That's like a real possibility now.
That would be amazingly interesting, because that is I believe the one stumbling block for the MLS is, our own little Champions League competition that we have, where, it's always just a Mexican team, basically, smacking an MLS team around,
Yep.
And
yeah,
no matter who wins the MLS Cup, I still always think that, for us to get over that hurdle, we have to beat Mexico. Whether it's, domestic, obviously, or international, Mexico is still our biggest hurdle, and I would like to go through an era where we make, I'm not going to curse, but we make them our, gives them a B.
B words.
A B word.
Oh, you can.
We make them.
We're open air here. You can say.
Let it out. But yeah, no, I agree.
I would like to see that era.
We're getting there in due time. Once the old part of Mexico gets phased out, Chicharito's getting old, Guardado's getting old, your Dos Santoses are getting old. Memo Ochoa, is he still doing his thing?
Yeah, and they're at that age, they're at that stage where they need to bring in that new era, and they're holding on.
Yeah.
And
Chucky
those
Lozano.
players are exceptional players. I wouldn't, I'm not gonna crap on them at all, but but yeah,
They still got Jimenez. I mean, when he recovers.
when he recovers, yeah, exactly.
Even he's older
Well,
though.
It's funny that you mentioned that too. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that semifinals is tonight, by the way. And there is only one MLS team left, and that's LAFC. So it is 3 out of the 4 teams left in this competition. Again, are teams from the Mexican League. So, and those games are on tonight at 8 and 10:30. So the LAFC America game should be actually pretty good.
I guess go LAFC, huh?
I get, yeah, for what we're I never thought I would say that, but
yeah, it's tough to say, tough to get out, but
yeah,
go Bobby Bradley.
I think it's tough for all of us to say, but if that's the narrative we want, and we want an MLS team to win this competition and continue, then I guess we all have to root for them.
Right, exactly.
It's very confusing, CONCACAF Champions League, because it's been delayed until now. They're about to start a new one like in February.
Yeah.
The schedule's so haphazard. It's as a soccer fan, sure, I love the fact that almost every other day practically you could watch some type of great
yeah
television, which is fantastic. But at the same time, I am, and this isn't me being a Klopp loyalist, I still believe that it's a travesty that the Premier League is one of the few leagues that hasn't transitioned to 5 subs. I think that they're quote unquote compromise that now you can do 9 players on your bench instead of 7 is still, the Prem being the Prem, which is like not always putting the player's best welfare in mind. And, these players need advocates like Klopp or Pep or even Ali, who has spoken on this point. And the sheer fact that, the good number of the teams that have been against it have been the smaller clubs, have been the clubs that know that if they were going against a team that could do 5 subs, they would shrink even more. And that's pretty just get your team better and everything else, So.
Right, yeah. I mean, that can't be your only excuse is, well, this guy has 5 guys coming off his bench that would all start on my team. Well, then that's your job to go out and improve your team. It's not their fault that they went out and built a team that talented that's a thing, I mean, you're risking the health of all these guys, and again, like it becomes to a point where it's no longer even about sport. Like it's almost like gladiator type, where it's like, oh, you mean nothing. You're a number. And if you get hurt, we'll pay another guy. Who cares? Yeah.
Right, that's the frustrating part about it. And I believe, because I think Frank is on the same. And I'm calling Frank like I know. Lampard is on the same.
Super Frankie Lampard.
Yeah, exactly. Lampard is on the same boat with Klopp and Arteta and Pep. I believe so. That they're in favor of the 5 subs, but unfortunately, where I've seen the uproar for sticking to 3 has been the old guard. A lot of these older coaches have really taken this stance of no, we need to stay with 3. And even when I hear people in the media, a lot of the former players, some of the former players that are all about, oh well, no, we need 3. You're not playing during COVID, guys. You're not playing during this stance where you have this truncated schedule that is now like being so jam packed. And the number of hamstring. Have you ever seen this many hamstring pulls in a season?
No, yeah, seriously.
Well, and a big part of it too is just like every other sport, the game has changed, and sometimes you have to adapt with how the game has changed. And these guys are more athletic. They're more, there's just more of a grind. There's probably been more of a grind from a younger age, even. A lot of these guys growing up, like guys who played in the 70s and 80s, not saying that they didn't train and they didn't, but it was different. They weren't, it wasn't a 24/7 type thing like it is now, where it's nonstop. Yeah, there's no break. No, even at the youth level. I mean,
go out, and give me not 100%, like 110%. I mean, I'm trying to think about the game as I'm going to blank on it, but I think it was the Man U game when the player pulled up lane within like the first couple of minutes of the game, and I'm like, where are we going with this, fellas? Like I want to see the best product on the field. I want to see a great game on the field. And if you're going to have a situation where these players are being overexerted, you're going to get less impressive games, less organized as well, and definitely higher injury rates. And I think that's where I really believe that we've lost focus with where we're at in the Prem.
Yeah.
You got to mention VAR once, but other than that,
True that.
The Queen just wants her show ponies out there playing. She doesn't care.
Maybe she doesn't.
They're there to entertain the Queen.
Right.
Entertainments all around. But yeah, City.
Talk about the Champions League draw as well. Is that what you guys were? Even though I know that's a long ways away, but still, I know that you guys want to talk about that as well.
Yeah. So we got some interesting draws. Obviously, I kind of teased the Messi versus Neymar. The PSG Barcelona matchup would probably be one of the better ones, I would say.
Yeah.
Trying to think, what was the other one? I think Chelsea got Atletico.
Yeah, Chelsea Atletico I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you having felt the pain of watching that setup that he plays in Atletico Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an interesting matchup, very interesting matchup, because I think they had a setup much like your Arsenal, much like a defensive-minded and hey, let's bend but not break approach, and just
right.
We'll get that counter. We'll get that one or two counters.
Oh, Simeone's going to play that exactly the way Mourinho played against Chelsea a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Simeone does not. Yeah, like he's weird, man. He does not care. He doesn't care that he has a João Felix on there who could be one of the best young strikers in the world. He doesn't care that he went out and got Suarez. Like the opportunity will come if the opportunity comes, but he's going to play defense first, and he's going to play from the back first, and he's going to sit and hope that. I mean, today I think they won. Atletico won 3-1, and 2 goals were from Suarez. But they had. I'll have to go back and watch a little of it. They had to be opportunities. They like Eddie. Yeah, Eddie said they played very boring football. But
because I really think that you're going to see, and this is so I heard Bellamy say this on ESPN FC, how he likes the way the Tottenham plays, for instance, and which is another defensive-minded. Let's just wait for our opportunities. They're going to give us one or two, and when we get our one or two, Son or Kane will put it in the back of the net, and that's something that I definitely think you're going to see a lot of when it comes to you're going to see a lot of rough and tough play, a lot of what I would consider dirty play. Okay, kind of dirty or slightly cheap play. The old the ball, I fouled you. Okay, now I'm going to kick the ball away from you type play. Just to get in your mind, and that's going to be interesting. I think it's very interesting for a lot of new players on that Chelsea team that really haven't seen this as a collective together. So that'd be interesting.
It makes me worried. They're definitely going to sit in there and make Chelsea break them down.
Yeah.
And be physical.
How do you feel about Man City's? I think Man City's. Do you see Man City because Man City always has that upset game. They always have that upset team, at least, that they face off against.
I think they run roughshod over Gladbach, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. The way Gladbach's been scoring and the way City has not been.
Gladbach scores against Shakhtar, remember?
Yeah, it's true.
They scored 10 goals against Shakhtar, and they didn't do much else in the
Real couldn't. Real couldn't score 2 goals against Shakhtar.
Good bad matchups for Shakhtar and Gladbach, but no way. I think City easily gets through them.
Well, one thing we talked about, City has shown that they've been valuing Champions League over the Prem as of this past, few months. So
absolutely, I think that's Pep's main interest right now because he knows that is a legacy, a cementer for his legacy. He was brought here to win the Champions League, Premier League, fantastic, Premier titles, the century runs.
Yeah, and they've done it. They've done that.
Yep.
That's fantastic. But they want Champions League's glory. And the considering that they've gotten, and this is why I was asking you guys the question, is that considering two, let's be honest, two mediocre French sides have been teams that have come in and put your, high power, top of the league Prem team out of the Champions League. I can see a German team knocking them out like that. Some team that's I would have you wouldn't say that their team is a big squad from Germany, but it's those kinds of squads that Manchester City sometimes overlooks.
Yeah. It's easy when you get that draw compared to who you could have got out of the 16 remaining to overlook a team like that.
Absolutely.
Gladbach don't have to play perfect football to beat City both legs. That's all I got to say. There's no room for error for Gladbach.
Well, then who's your dark horse, Adam? Who's your
My dark horse in the rest of the league thing, huh?
For the Champions League.
Dark horse, and the only reason why I would say this, and probably Atalanta, just because they can put up goals.
Yeah, and that's a great choice because I like that matchup against Real Madrid.
Yeah, they can beat Madrid easily.
Yeah,
in a 2-leg, absolutely, because you get an Atalanta team that'll score one game like 4 or 5, and you're already in the hole big time if you give that up in the first leg.
Yeah. Especially if you give it up at home.
Yeah, and I think the first leg is at in Atalanta.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Going back to Chelsea real quick too. I think if you're Frank, your best move is to I think you got to get the vets in there. I think like you got to make sure Conte's in there. You got to make sure Jorginho's in there. Like I don't see how you're running out Kai Havertz in a round of 16 Champions League right now. Like
you got to play bully ball against Simeone.
Yeah, you can't put Kai Havertz on the field against a Diego Simeone coach team.
You sit Timo. You sit those.
I think Timo's track record in Champions League gets him in there, but I mean he's shown that he can score the last. I don't know. It's a tough job for Frank.
I'm asking the Blues fan.
Like, I'm trying to think who Atletico center backs are if he can run around. I'm trying to remember who Atletico center backs are if he could run around on them. Because I know Diego Godin's gone.
That's a good question.
I'll give you right now. Savic is still there, which you can run around Savic, but Hermoso, he's quick. The kid from Spain, center back. He's got some speed. You're not running around him. And then they still got Kieran Trippier, and that kid who's Lodi's there.
Is he still experimenting with playing Jose Jimenez in the back? Or is that experiment over?
He has not, no. I mean, they still got Oblak in goal. He's still a good goal, you know. Marcus Llorente's playing in the midfield. He's a good defending. They're not a quick team. I mean, they still got Koke in there. Leymar's not, like, super fast. Carrasco's... Good old Yannick Carrasco.
And that goes full circle to what we were saying earlier at the beginning of the show is that, you know, the goaltender is possibly the best player on that team.
Yeah. He was the guy everybody thought Chelsea was going to get in all that money spending.
Yeah. Which is
shout out Slovenia.
There you go.
Represent Jan Oblak.
Yeah,
can we just before the show ends? Can we go back to how somehow Tottenham drew Wolfsburg in Europa?
Wolfsburger, Austria.
Like how? Like
I
never right.
I don't think that Europa is Mourinho's main focus though this year.
No.
I think that I don't think that's his main focus. I think that he
his whole okay. No, I was just gonna say he right now he doesn't need it to get back to Champions League. No. They're playing well enough in the Prem that it doesn't have to be.
Right. And I mean like a Europa Championship is some part of a FA Cup.
Goes hand in hand on the same level.
Pretty much it's like the same level almost, almost.
Oh. Speaking of, Arsenal's not getting out of the round of 32. Can we be clear? Like Benfica is going to beat draw. Arsenal.
That's a tough draw.
It's a tough draw, but wow.
They're not good. They're not better than Benfica right now. They're not. They're not.
The Portuguese Giants come strike you down.
Listen, we have a January transfer window before these games are played.
Right.
I don't know the eligibility issues and who will be and who not that could be added in that window to play in these games. So that may change. But right now, if you ask me right now, there's zero chance Arsenal's getting past Benfica.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
you lost to Burnley.
I'm not a Gunner fan, and that hurts to hear. That hurts.
They lost to Burnley 1-0 to Burnley.
That's tough.
At home.
That's also tough.
At the Emirates.
having seen the best team, one of the best teams in the world, play at home and demolish, pretty much absolutely demolish my team.
This Rangers talk.
Barcelona. And then for us to come home without some of our major players, and even Van Dijk on somewhat of one leg, okay, outperformed that team, I was like, hey, anything in soccer is possible. So.
Oh yeah, it is.
You know.
I'm just spent right now. Like they'll go out and they'll beat Everton like 3-0 today on the road, and next week everything will change.
Which is probably starting up as we speak.
It's about to kick off any second now. Yes, sir. And Eddie had to get his Rangers talk in there. Rangers are probably our top
team in the world.
They're my top 3 in Europa favorites. Their streak is over. They did lose, but
they ain't going nowhere in Europa League.
They drew a nice draw.
They ain't going nowhere.
They get Antwerp. Come on. They're
Antwerp won that group.
No, they got second behind Spurs.
Yeah, let's be real. I have love for the Rangers now because they have one of my favorite players as the coach. So,
don't let that sway you, Lord Walker. Don't let that sway you.
He's going blue.
They are who they are.
Yeah,
they're running away with a really bad Scottish league this year. No offense, Eddie. I'm sorry.
Hey,
Celtic is trash.
They are.
Hopefully we get a chance to talk about it another time. But I mean, hey, the same thing. I've said that same thing about Brendan Rodgers. He has a lot of people say, oh, he's such a great coach and everything else. And I'm not saying he's a bad coach at all. But I am saying that, when they do say, oh, well, he's won here or there. And I'm like, has he? Like, in a real league? But it's okay.
Hey, Leicester they're still in 4th with no defense. So,
hey, if you have Vardy and his Red Bull drinking, self,
coffee snorting, yeah.
Eating donuts, probably smoking cigarettes. I don't know what he does, but whatever his breakfast of champions is, hey, I'm sure they're okay with it. That is an amazing player, considering his age and considering his pathway towards the Prem. That is amazing. What he
Adam has many times supported Vardy's pregame habits. So
the 3 Red Bulls and 2 coffees. Hey man, again, for his age, what he's doing, very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what else? Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I think I've said enough today. I'm running low on hope. Again, I'm gonna support this guy for as much longer as I can till at least one more transfer window and see if ownership complies and they give him a little bit more help of what he wants. But I don't know. I've said it, Adam, since the day we've met. As long as there's a Kroenke in charge of Arsenal, my levels of hope are just not there.
Thank you.
And until I see otherwise, I don't know, man. I'm gonna keep rooting and wearing the red every week. But it's
so is that your yellow card, red card? Your boys, they are so on notice. I mean, it's beyond at this point. I mean, I don't have much. Yeah, they get yellow, they get red, they get it all. They just show me something, please. Show me something. Well, this is, I guess, a good trend because I would say my every card is my own team in Dortmund. In complete shambles, losing to Union Berlin yesterday is, I think, the downfall. It's almost rock bottom. It's getting there. When you fire your coach after you lose to Stuttgart 5-1, and then you go barely beat a Wolfsburg team, and then you lose to Union Berlin, who wasn't even in the top flight 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Something's got to give. I'm sorry. Jaden, get your head out of your ass and let's play.
Sell, and get a coach.
Show me you're worth $100 million and score some goals this year, huh? Lord Walker, do you have any red card, yellow card for us?
I would say my yellow card goes to, again, all the Prem coaches that have Prem managers that have voted down on extending the subs this year. I believe this is Bush League, excuse me. And I would say my red card, which is a very interesting red card, is to all of my Bobby Firmino haters. every one of these people that come and say he can't score, or he's not worth this, or he's not that, he needs to be out. Come on. He's a legend. He is a legend. He is a legend. Okay, Bobby.
I support that statement with a 90+ minute goal against Tottenham. I'm all for it.
Exactly, and it was a cracker of a header. Like, that was an amazing goal. Leave
that man alone.
Yeah, that was a big F you. Like, yeah, I still got it.
I would give the assist to Henderson. If we do hockey assist with the little of the assist on the bump a little bit.
I'm all about the hockey assist. I approve the hockey assist.
Bobby Blue Eyes, the pride of Hoffenheim.
Yeah, another German product. Yeah. For sure.
Yep, there you go. That's where you go. That's your stepping stone. But yeah, unfortunately, we got to get out of here. This has been great. Lord Walker, thank you again for jumping on with us. It's always a good time chatting with you.
Sure,
absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Clamoring. We've been trying to get him on, so glad to have you back.
Appreciate
it. Yeah, hell yeah, man. Anytime.
Thanks, Eddie.
We're
still waiting on Eddie. We're going to get him on here.
Eddie and
Thanks
Jeff.
for sticking with us, buddy.
It's always a good time. And next week, we got some Boxing Day, boys.
Oh, yeah.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, well, then, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We'll see you on the 26th, man.
It's very exciting. And thank you guys again for watching, everybody out there. We love y'all, and we'll see you on Boxing Day.
Yes, sir.
Later, everybody.